Now, for more insight into the parliamentary election in Iran, we're joined in the studio by Mr. Li Guofu from the China Institute of International Studies. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Li. So, this time's election in Iran has been considered as a major battle between the so-called reformists and hardliners in Iran. So, who do you think will win, and what changes will they bring?
There are two very important elections would simultaneously to be held, I think, a couple of minutes later, and AM and Tehran local time. As for the Assembly of the Experts, they are supposed to oversee the performance of the supreme leader. Because the terms, it will last for 8 years. So many people believe that this time the Assembly of the Experts may have the chance to choose or elect the next Iran supreme leader. That's one of the reasons why this time the election of the Assembly of the Experts is so important. As for the parliament elections now in Tehran, the politics, roughly we say there are two camps. One is the combination of the reformists led by the former President Khatami. One is, we call the pragmatists. And the focal points of the two camps, one is the hardliners, and is whether, the two camps are pro or against the President Rouhani's policies, and especially his domestic policies. And many people believe that Rouhani adopted a liberal economic policies. He wants more free of markets and try to attract more foreign investments. But the hardliners, they're afraid that with more, the foreign investments, foreign tourists, that would bring, the Western influence to Iran. That also will undermine the principle of revolution. So I think the both sides are competing. Roughly, we can say that whether one side is pro or against Rouhani's policies, because they has not started the voting yet. So it will be very, very hard at this time to jump at any conclusion which side would win.
So you've talked about domestic politics. Let's talk about the possible influence on Iran's foreign policy in the near future. Let's put this into content, because we know that this time's elections came almost right after a major deal struck between Iran and world powers on the country's controversial nuclear program. Reformists called it a triumph, and hardliners are not very happy about it. So how will the result of this time's elections influence the country's diplomacy in the near future?
I think we know that the parliaments will not directly make the foreign policies, but to make up the parliament and what directly influence the country's the foreign policies and its relations with the outside world. For example, what the Rouhani is calling for the parliaments to adopt a kind of, the policies, or to approve some sort of regulations which is in favor of to tracking more foreign investments, and to also to enable the governments to be more actively engaged with the international community. You can see that if the moderates has win that supported Rouhani's policies, there will be more foreign and the tourists and the foreign investments. The Iranian would be more open to the outside world. That's, I personally believe, would directly, maybe enable Rouhani to engage Iran more with rest of the world. But if the hardliners do win, that will set a lot of obstacles in any way for Rouhani to implement his open up foreign policies. It will be more difficult for Rouhani to implement what in his mind that he may engage more with the international community.
Thank you very much, Mr. Li Guofu from the China Institute of International Studies.